are unrelatable. This is something that I've struggled with since pretty much medical school, just having more trouble being relatable, making friends, also making honest friends, as well as being an honest friend and being an authentic friend. I have shrunk myself down in order to be more relatable to people. However, through this journey of figuring out who I am and becoming a physician, you really have to ask yourself, like, who am I really? And that really started in intern year for me. What do you tolerate? Who do you want to be to residents, medical students? And of course, we make mistakes and we slip back into old habits. But at this time, I feel like I am the most self-developed and self-assured as a fourth year radiology resident getting ready to graduate in a couple of months. So it does take some time. For a long time, I was just trying to be relatable, because if you're relatable, then you're popular and you have a lot of friends and people will do things for you, and that's just the way to be, and that's how we're taught to be. And if you look at, and there are some benefits additionally to being relatable, if you look at Taylor Swift, she presents herself as very relatable, and she always has. I'm just like you, I have the same emotions as you, I live the same life as you. But as she's grown, especially now, like on paper, know that Taylor Swift is very much not relatable. However, this relatability that she is able to portray is very beneficial to her brand and who she is as a person. So I don't think that being relatable is in any way a disadvantage. However, those of us who present ourselves in a particular way, carry a certain aura, communicate in a certain way, that can be very intimidating to people who have never encountered that before, who are unsure as to how to navigate someone with a polarizing personality. And when I say a polarizing personality, that just means a personality that is unique, not a personality that is unkind. So the personality that is polarizing is, you will have people that love you. I have people in my camp that absolutely love me. They will always love me, and we've loved each other since we first met. So instead of relating to the masses, I relate to very few people, and there will be people who will not like you when they first see you. Like, it's unstuck as soon as they see you, as soon as they talk to you the first time. And for me, for a long time, that was hard for me to deal with, because I was like, I'm not unkind, I'm not a bad person, I'm not, but they're always commenting on my tone. They're always saying I am very blunt, and that can come off as harsh. For a while, especially during residency, I did try to dumb myself down and try to say, okay, you just need to be always been kind, regardless of whether or not I am direct. But you need to soften around the edges as far as the way that you communicate. And when I found that there were still people who misinterpreted what it was that I said, even though I was very clear and direct about what I said, they still had a problem with something. At some point, I came to the realization that it is not a crime and it is not a bad thing to be unrelatable. Relatability is very common and it's very safe. That's why people typically like it. Relatability means a lot of people will be able to see themselves in your shoes. They will be able to take on the same ideas that you have, and they've had the same thoughts about life and their trajectory as you have, and therefore you are comfortable, and that's okay. However, signs that I started to see that I was not relatable was when hear colleagues talking about certain things, and in radiology it is AI and AI overtaking radiology, sure. And a lot of people right now very unsure and a little bit nervous about where AI is going and how that is going to affect their careers. However, when I offered a perspective to the advancement of AI and how that could actually work in our benefit and how it would be beneficial to hop on the train now, invest now, so that you don't miss out on opportunities, because this is where our career is going regardless. So you either jump on the train or you don't. And I'm not saying that AI is going to take over radiology. I don't believe that at all. However, people who are afraid of change and people who are afraid of AI, that that being involved with AI at any point right now as a radiologist is egregious and you are with the ops. That is very narrow thinking. Whereas if you truly want to win as a person, then you should want to invest in AI, figure out how it works, train the AI, do all these things so that you are not left holding the bag when it is time, if there ever is a time, to compete with AI. And personally, I don't think that we will have to compete one-on-one with AI just because liability things, other things, like I just don't think that it's going to happen. However, who have this mindset of, okay, I am an employee, this is my job, I must protect this at all costs, instead of seeing the bigger picture and the bigger opportunities. I feel like people don't understand me when I say things like what I said. They just kind of looked at me like, because they don't, and I feel like there are people who don't see options. They don't see opportunities in certain things. And they don't think that you can find a way to maximize your life in different areas of your life. Before I chose pediatric IR, I was like, do IR part-time and then just do DR full-time. And one of the women said, well, maybe you shouldn't do IR. And I kind of thought was very odd, because if you are intrinsically drawn to something, if this is something that you would like to do, I think that you are drawn to that thing for a reason. And even if you save one patient, even if you work for 1 year and you're able to touch and heal and connect with those patients, I think that is far more valuable than burning yourself out providing subpar care. Not saying that people who work full-time provide subpar care. I'm just saying that if you know who you are and you know what your limits are and you choose the harder path without choosing to be efficient in a way that is good for you, good for your mental health, good for your family, and good for your patients, I think that that is very small in saying that, okay, since I cannot do IR full-time and do adult IR and handle call and want to pursue other passions in life, then I just automatically rule those things out. And I think that understanding that those of us who have loftier goals, who want to go to the best schools, who want to do the research, who want to contribute meaningfully, not just medical education, but in other areas of life, whether that be start a business, go volunteering, all of the things that you would like to do, I think that you will ruffle some feathers, because surprisingly, just like for them, that there are people who want to continue the climb, who want to do the most, who want to keep going after you get your salary in radiology as an attending. I also surprised by people who do not want to pursue other passions, who do not want to do things for the community. They just want to work their job and they want to go home, and that is their prerogative. But just understand that being relatable is comfortable and there's nothing wrong with that. But being unrelatable, that means that what you're going for is something that is aspirational. When you're unrelatable, you're more aspirational. I remember all of the discourse that was going on TikTok surrounding Meghan Markle and how she was unrelatable. And for a while, I thought was, oh my gosh, like that's so bad. Thinking about it for a while, I was like, why would she be relatable? She's an American actress. She's stunning, absolutely stunning, gorgeous. And 3, she married a prince of one of the wealthiest empires in the world, if not the wealthiest. I don't know the numbers. Why would she be relatable? Why would she be relatable? And a lot of these takes were coming from women who 100% would die to be in her position. So I think that you have to make a choice, and I think that you have to accept your polarizing personality and say that the people who love me, and the people who don't. That's okay. We're going to keep moving, and to choose not to shrink yourself down, because Hermes will not say, okay, we're just going to sell our bags for $50 so more people will come shop with us. And when you accept that you are unrelatable, you are able to move in a way that will help you accomplish the goals that you have in your life. You have to be unrelatable in order to get to an unrelatable place. If you are having these same problems, then maybe the problem is that you are just not relatable.